G'day legends, welcome to the Pot Noodle on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host Jared and joining me is Liam. How are you, Liam?
Good, mate. Doing good. Yep. Still here, and yeah, feeling good.
It's a very special and humbling moment for me in particular with the Celtic Down Under podcast. Like episode title, how the hell is this our 500th episode? I started this pod in 2019, okay? Just before the lockout happened, lockout season. And for me, it was one of those ones where I'd done a bit of podcasting on and off with a previous incarnation of a podcast over here, got the bug for it, and then set this one up. And my goal, really simple going into the pod, setting it up, was I wanted that podcast outside the Glasgow bubble. And I wanted it to be from our side of the world, having a look in at a club that we all love. And mission accomplished. The fact that we're 500 episodes in means we are established. And I actually said to my wife, and this is something that I just wanted to mention. I said to her when I was setting it up, I go, if I have three people listen, this is what I said going in the first episode. If I have three people listen, guess what? That's amazing. So the fact that, sometimes we're getting, you know, like, okay, one episode we've had 6,000 like listeners. We've had others where there's like, on average, we're getting that like 2 to 3,000 audio downloads and YouTube views and everything across the board. Like, built this pretty nicely. So, very happy, very humbling, and yeah, just want to thank everyone who's been on the pod over the years. A few people in particular I want to name drop in a moment, but yeah, it's great to have this pod up and about.
Yeah, I would just add, it's great to be here, mate. You welcomed me onto the show quite early on in its run, and God, a hell of a lot has changed since then. I've got married. We've been through a pandemic. I think we're still in the same incarnation of Rangers, just about.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it's been a very turbulent 7 years, but I've been delighted that this podcast has been an outlet. It's given me a chance to speak to like-minded Celtic fans like yourself. It has also allowed me to make friends. It has it's led to career opportunities because it's got me involved in the whole Celtic blog sphere. None of that would have happened without you, mate. And it's yeah, it's incredible to look back on where I was then and where I am now, and where Celtic are now compared to where we were then as well. As so much has changed in such a relatively short bit of time, you know.
have we gone backwards as a club though? That's the thing. From when we started, we're under
Yeah.
Neil Lennon's second stint when we started, and here we are now. So no, it's just as you're saying, Liam. Like the best thing to come out of doing this pod is like we've built a nice little community here. There's certain people who I don't want to name drop certain viewers all the time, but there's people there I've become friends with. Shane, who's on the pod all the time, he started off as a viewer and then met him at a Melbourne Victory game, and here we are. But going back, I was really hoping Willie was available tonight. He was going to jump on, but work's just worn him out. But I look at it, and the way I look at it is the original guys, the original four on this pod was myself who founded it and set it up. But then Liam, you made your debut. Went back and checked. You and Johnny made your debut on episode 20 of the
Wow.
podcast. Willie was involved from day one, helping me run the Facebook page. So Willie was involved then and didn't get involved in the pod till a couple of years later. But between you, John, and Willie, you're the three that have been there with me from day one. And you're three guys that I classify as good mates. So that's a bonus that I've got out of this podcast. Like, as you said, we've all been through some stuff. Like, personally, I went through some tough stuff a couple of years back, lost my mum. I rock up to the church on the day of her funeral and there's flowers sent to me at the church from all you guys. Like, that's something that I'm going to hold near and dear forever because I really appreciate that. It's little things like that that you build this community and friendships, and talking Celtics is the bonus of the lot, Liam. So yeah, above all else, thanks a lot, guys. And on the other side, there's been a couple of good, we're past 5 minutes. A couple of shitty moments along the way.
Yes.
Let's see now.
And not just my dirty jokes either, you know.
No, there's a couple of dodgy things, but you get the hard realities of it where you build your pod and you put all this work in and it's great and you got great people in the comments. I said I didn't want to, shout out a few people in the comments there, but just seeing one there, Andrew Galea, he's been watching the pod for a good 4 or 5 years at least, maybe since day one if I'm going back. McLaughlin, you've been there. There you go. You said you didn't find us since Ange come along. You've been around for a good 4 or 5 years. So there's people in the comments there that you see these names and it's like, how are you guys still putting up with us every week? I love it. So appreciate that. But on the bad side of it, yeah, there was, the pod went from one episode every 2 weeks to one a week to then we built it up to got to the point when Ange was in that there was a whole bunch more people here wanting to get involved. So we built it up to 3 shows a week. It's dropped back down to 2. Then through work and commitments and stuff, I can only do 1 a week now. That's not bad, but the worst part of it all is, getting the occasional death threat for some comments you get or told if you ever come to Glasgow, I'm going to stab you, that sort of stuff that I've had over the years. Good fun. But, we do the pod because we love it, so who cares?
Yeah. Aye, it's yeah. I did get funny enough. Actually, I got one of those just a couple of weeks ago. Actually, not from any of our viewers, I'm delighted to say, but from a follower of a certain other football club who objected to me referring to his hooligan faction as Smackhead Smurfs. But we'll get to them later on.
Yeah, so just wanted to do one last little thing about the pod before we get into the actual show. But yeah, I'm just gonna above all else, I want to send a thanks to not just everyone on the pod who does it, but your significant others, your families who support you and allow you to have this time. So to your wife, Liam, I appreciate that. Thanks to her. Thanks to my wife who supports this and tolerates being what she calls a podcast widow once or twice a week. So yeah, appreciate her. And then everyone else getting involved, like everyone else's families, those involved, appreciate all this. Now, last thing though we've got to bring up is the evolution of the podcast. Like, I just need to show this. I was looking at this just before it came on. This is why I had my hard drive out, Liam. Do you remember what the first podcast logo looked like?
Vaguely. You have to refresh my memory.
So there you go. That's the first podcast logo that we had for the first 19 episodes. So it was never that one when you were on it.
Right. Okay, that's how I've never seen it. Right. Okay.
When you debuted, it went to that one.
Yep, I remember that. Aye.
That one hung in there for a little bit, and then I thought it was a little boring because when you look at it, it's all just green and white like every other Celtic podcast logo. So then thought where Aussies would chuck a bit of yellow in, so upgraded it to that. So that was the next step. Then I wanted to upgrade the pod again and get a bit more emphasis on the boxing kangaroo with the four-leaf clover and everything behind. Had a look at that, thought that was a bit shit, and that one lasted 1 episode. And here we are with the current
The genesis of something great there. Yeah, that's aye.
So yeah, I was looking at that going, oh, that's some interesting stuff. So appreciate you all just like letting us, waffle for a little bit here. But yeah, it was great to just, look back on the journey a little bit the last couple of days myself going, wow, this is good. Don't really appreciate it when you're in the cut and thrust of the season and we're in a 3-team title race and all that, and you're like focusing on that, but it's like, hang on, let's just look back at this for a bit. So, yeah, good fun.
I think just to add a wee comment there, right? Looking back on things, I think that something that I've learned from doing the pod with you, and also just from looking back on some of the older episodes and things, some of our funniest exchanges have come at the darkest times for Celtic. It's funny how I think that is something that Scottish people and Australians share, is we've got this unique ability to, well, not unique because we both got it. We've got this ability to find humour in the darkest moments,
And we also have this innate ability to drop a C-bomb like like you're just calling someone your best bud, and it's
A term of
completely normal.
endearment.
But
That's
like one of those threats I was talking about earlier, Liam, I remember this one. And I got a message from someone saying, "You guys are disgusting and potty mouth. If you talk like that around us, you'd get stabbed." That was a good one. And I'm
I
like,
think the best one I got was from a Hun that said because I called out I won't name who it is, but I called out someone for their bigotry. And I make jokes about Huns, but I don't say anything about people's religion because I don't have an issue with that, right? Despite the shirt, I'm not a practicing Catholic and haven't been for a very long time, right? But one of them said, and this is not. Are we at 6 minutes yet? Yes, we are.
yeah, we're
Okay,
good.
right. So this guy actually said to me, without a shred of irony, he said, "Name something I've ever said that's bigoted, you stupid Fenian cunt."
Oh my God.
And I was like, gentlemen of the jury, exhibit A. Jesus.
Ridiculous. So yeah, it's just funny. Like you listen, just the interactions and everything you get. And I'm just going to bring it up because you're talking about one of that lot. So one of the all-time favorite memes. It's been done to death on this pod, but don't make me tap the sign. I think this is Shane's latest version of it, or Dan's. One of those two did that one, but there's always a new version of that coming up all the time. So yeah, it's just been great along the way. Want to also give a shout out just to a couple other things like early days starting the pod. I don't really have much to do with the guy anymore, but credit where it's due. Gal over at the Cynic was big in terms of helping me get, figure out what software I needed, what sort of setup I needed, microphones and all that. So I'll give him credit where it's due. And then a lot more recently and a lot longer term, Paul John Dykes over at Axom has been a great sounding board, and he's not everyone's cup of tea, but yeah, that podcast has been a good friends of our podcast over here, and it's worked both ways. So we've had people go from this podcast over to Axon. We've Axon people on here as guests all the time. So it's one of them where, yeah, just give people their flowers as well. But anyway, we've been waffling long enough that anyone thinks Shane's in the room.
I thought he was hiding under your desk.
Who is it that lives under your desk again?
Oh, Pedro. Pedro
Mate,
has
Pedro.
unfortunately moved on to pastures new. Yeah, the wife had issues with me keeping him under the desk, so
Oh, there's one from the deep dives, and like other things from the podcast is like the term pot noodle, where that came from. Because when we started the 3 shows, it's like Liam's comment about pot noodles, and then it became the Wednesday. I was going to call it the Wednesday pot noodle initially because it was all of us original guys, and it was like the Wednesday wankers was basically what I named it, and then then it came back here, it just became the pot noodle. So the wankers is pretty much every week what this pod stands for. I love it. It's great. You never thought of it like that, have you, Liam?
no. We should put out a BBC disclaimer at this point. Like other masturbatory aids are available.
Shit. Anyway, I think everyone's here to listen to the football now, so let's just get to that.
Yes.
So, yeah, Celtic St Mirren. I hope I got the right team list here. There we go. Sinisalo in goals. Ralston, Trusty Scales, Tierney. Midfielder, McGregor, Oxlade, Chamberlain, Nigren. Young Mater on the wings, and Cantivara up front. Liam, what was your thoughts heading into that game?
I think that was the best team we could have put out given the circumstances. I think, yeah, I was quite happy with the team. I've been on record here and on Axom several times. I've said I want to go to a 4-4-2, or at least some system where we incorporate 2 strikers. But assuming we've got to stick with the 4-3-3, that was the best team you could put out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, looking at the squad, there's only one potential player who I think would improve our first team, and that'd be Arnie Engels in the midfield, and then that either frees up Kelmac or the Ox to step forward that one rung in the middle of the park. But you can't drop Nigren. with the goals
No.
he's contributed this season. Like he's not everyone's cup of tea. He's not even my favorite. I'm not a massive fan of Nigrin. I think he looks really lazy off the ball, but that's not the what I want from him is not. It's not everyone's what everyone wants. Like I'll take the goals every day of the week. He
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of Chris Commons. That's who Negrin reminds me of in terms of pretty lazy off the ball, but can bang in goals.
Yeah, it's like the goals tend to kind of give him a free pass at times when he's been woeful for large parts of the game, but then he nips in with a goal, and yeah, like you say, you've got to just that alone means he has to stay in the team at least until we get a functioning striker. But, Callum Osmond is apparently back in full training now, so don't know if we'll see him again this season, but that would be. I tell you what, if everything goes well and he made the bench for the cup final, that would just be wonderful. That would be a great little way to round off what's been a very difficult season for him.
Yeah, Callum Osman, I got big raps on. I think he's going to be a good one for us, but the question is, where would he fit into this current lineup? Because are you going to play him are you going to change the whole formation to bring a second striker in? Are you going to try and play him as a target man? Because the way we're playing, we need a target man, and that's not his game. Are we going to play him wide right and take Yang out? Are we going to put him wide left and drop Dazen? No. So it's a tough one for him. So yeah, off the bench, come on, make a few little, be that impact sub for the rest of the season. That would be the best scenario for him.
Is it? Do you think? And this is a question I would just throw out there for viewers as well. Feel free to answer this. Is it a question of at the moment we are just trying to kind of fit the pieces into a puzzle that Brendan Rodgers left, and at the end of the season we're going to rip it up and go with a completely new formation with the new manager? I hope so, because I think the 4-3-3 is tired. Whether we do eventually win this league or not.
I'm gonna go on a bit of a weird tangent for you then, Liam. I agree. I think we're just sticking to the 4-3-3 just because it's what the players we've got. We've had so much turbulence this season. We don't want to upset the apple cart, change things again in the run now, right? So when
Yeah.
Martin first come in, they straightened things up and got a lot more direct. What I've noticed the last 3 or 4 games is we're starting to get a bit more of that Brendan ball in again, where the recycling across the back rather than being as direct. So that's like in the game against St Mirren, the amount of times where our wingers were running in and acres of space and we didn't put the ball over the top or the diagonal to them, we're missing those runs. So
We seem to have developed an aversion to playing the long ball. The long ball is fine as long as you don't play it every time. There's a time and a place for it, even in modern football.
you need to be able to get in, short, sharp little triangle passes to break through things. And then if that doesn't work, if you're going to play those quick passes, it's going to compress the defense. Then you ping that ball over the top out wide, and then you unlock the whole defense. That's when you play it.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of opportunities when you want to do that. But yeah, I just think it's for us not changing the formation is what it is now. But, and this is what I was about to get to, Liam, is what you said about tearing it all up and starting from scratch. That's where the timing of Nancy coming in was wrong. Because if Nancy was to come in June and then be here and have a good 3 months to instill his system, once the players come back from the World Cup, have time to recruit, figure out, get all the setup he wanted, and get the players in to play that system, maybe it actually could have worked. I don't think it
Yeah.
would have. I think he was out of his depth at Celtic Park, guaranteed. But that type of scenario, bringing in someone to tear it all up and try something completely different, what you've just said is what we tried to do after Brendan left. And now's the time to do it if we're going to.
I certainly don't think it would have ended the way it did if he'd have come in at the start of a season. We might have got to maybe Christmas time and realised it wasn't working, but I don't think it would have been a case of losing losing 3 out your first 4 games and then like fans demanding he's sacked after 6 games and he eventually manages to last 8, which most people feel was too many. I don't think he burns out that quickly if you give him a chance to at least try and build his team. Because I think it's I think it's basically out there now that there was a lot of players just didn't agree with his approach to the game, didn't like the way he spoke to them,
Wasn't a good
and I
communicator
think
behind the scenes from what we hear.
yeah, and I think that if he'd had a pre-season to get to know the players, where there wasn't the immediate pressure to win, yeah, things could have worked out differently because he might have learned a bit of humility, and the players might also have learned to be a wee bit more open-minded, you know. But when you're in a pressure situation at Celtic, you know your second competitive game's a bloody cup final. You know what chance have you got? It's like win right away. I mean, the minute we lost that cup final, Nancy was done as far as I was concerned. I hoped he was going to turn it round, but from that moment on, I thought this guy isn't going to make it because the pressure is just it's just going to keep building now, you know. And that was it. He never recovered from it.
Well, I'll just get some comments here, bring them up. So McLaughlin's saying if we had kept O'Neill throughout the December, I think we would have won the cup and won the 4 league games.
Yeah.
He's followed up saying Nancy could have walked into a 10-point lead if we just stuck with Martin until the New Year derby. And then the last one of that is there's no doubt in mind we were on a run of momentum just before Martin left. 100% we were. And then Andrew Galea saying, can't believe we did that Nancy experiment mid-season. And that's just why we're in the situation we're in now still to this day. But, like, that was just out of control.
Yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
like
it's the only
Brendan's-
time in Celtic's history that we brought in a completely new management team mid-season.
Was that the first time?
Yeah. Because any other time that a manager has walked mid-season, there's been a caretaker that's ran it till the end of the season.
Yeah. That is wild.
Yeah.
So, back to the St Mirren game for a minute. You want to talk about the first half?
Yeah, I mean,
Or just in general, what was your thoughts on the game in general? Just speed run it.
it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a great game, but I think as I said last week on here, like just win the game. I don't care if it's 1-0. I don't care if it's a dodgy penalty that goes in off the goalkeeper's scrotum. Just put it in the net and win the game, and we did. So I'm happy with it. It was an utterly dire game of football to watch, but results are what count now.
Can I
And
rename this episode?
5 more of those and we win the league. It's that simple.
McLaughlin saying we're trying to win games on a game-to-game basis.
Yeah.
Now, I think I need to rename the episode title Liam to Scrote Goal now after that. There you go. The random shit on this pod. There you go. Yeah, for me, just when I watched the game back, right, it's not the same like watching it live, but I'm at that point where it's going to sound weird. The timing didn't work. I went out to the NRL, watched the Storm play, come home, and there was like 20 minutes or so from when I walked in the door to when kickoff was, and I completely still hadn't realised that, oh yeah, we're only 9 hours behind now, not 11. So I thought I had a couple more hours ready to go. So, yeah, not ideal. So I got up, watched the game, and yeah, it was one of them where it wasn't the prettiest to watch, but I think we could have, like, how many games have we had this season where the game could have gone, we said the game could have gone for another 20, 30 minutes and we wouldn't have scored.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel this game was for St Mirren. I did not feel threatened by them. The only thing St Mirren had going for them in this game was that their jerseys made them look like they were Perth Glory. That's about it. Like, the bright purple looked pretty nice. But at the end of the day, like, there wasn't too much special going on. Like, couple of really close offsides. The Ox getting his goal off a rebound. It's got to be in the right spot. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a competent win. 3 points in the bank. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And you know the funny thing, I don't think we even need to win the 5 games to win the league. I reckon if we beat Rangers and Hearts and win another 2 of the games, that'll probably be enough. Because I see both of them dropping points elsewhere before the end of the season.
Well, I was reading somewhere that was the first, and I think you may have said it as well, that was the first game, I think you said it early on about, was that the first time this round that all 3 teams had won in the same week?
Did
you
it's
say
the
that
first time
earlier?
in a while.
Yeah, it's the first time.
It wasn't me that said it, but
Yeah.
it was something that came up today in our
I
chats.
couldn't remember if it was you who said it in the chat or if it was one of your blogs that said it, but yeah, I remember reading that and I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm.
But on top of that, like, there's points there to be dropped, whether it's us, whether it's the Huns, whether it's Hearts. Someone's going to drop some points here. And what I was reading right before I turned the computer on to set everything up for the pod, Liam, is they actually have a funny thing. So if every position has to be separate for Europe, right? In terms of you have to have a clear first, a clear second, a clear third, right? So somehow with head-to-heads, if us and Rangers have the result go a certain way when we play them at our place in a couple of weeks, right? And the goal difference ends a certain way and we both end on the exact same points, right? And neither of us win the league. Or if Hearts completely implode and drop to third. So if Hearts wins the league, then this will still have to happen for second or third. If we're top two, it will have to happen, right? But
Yeah.
you get to the point where there has to be an extra playoff game at a neutral venue for who comes second, who comes third. So you could still get an extra Glasgow derby if everything goes to like accordingly to that. And I was looking and going, there's about 20 things there that need to happen to get to that. But it could happen.
Aye.
Because it has to be at a neutral venue. You have a look at the date that they'd have to play it. Guess what? You can't do it because you've got the Scottish Cups already on at Hampden, right? And then apparently there's work getting done at Hampden as soon as that game's over, some turf work, from what I read, which means where are you going to play? If a neutral venue, you've got three options, really, don't you?
Yeah, it's going to be whichever team isn't in the playoff. So it would be Tynecastle if it was
Exactly.
Celtic and Rangers. It would be Ibrox if it was us and Hearts. Aye,
Yeah.
it's bizarre.
Or the third option, Murrayfield. That's it. They're actually the three options. It'll either be at Tynecastle, it'll be at Easter Road, or it will be at Murrayfield. It'll end up being a Glasgow derby in Edinburgh.
The thing is, Murrayfield is a very difficult one to just set up on a whim for football because all the kiosks there are set up to sell alcohol. And you would have to go in and like block off all of the beer pumps and like you have to not just like not sell them, you have to remove them from view. That is like the law.
Yeah, that won't happen.
So when Hearts played a few games there a couple of years ago, well, God, about 5 years ago, that took about 2 or 3 months to set up because they had to go in and like fundamentally like change about how the catering operation was done at Murrayfield.
Yeah. Not going to happen.
It's not workable.
I just thought it was funny though. Like just reading, I'm like, it's not going to happen. For the comments, okay, we've got comments here saying Sev Conings are banging in the goals at the moment. And then referees won't allow that to happen. Evidence on the weekend. Our goal difference is woeful. If we're tied up with Hearts on goal difference, we'd go head to head, which they're better than us. Yep. So it's if goals for and goals against are exactly the same. That's what's in it. But as I said, it's about 20 things that have to go away with results and to get everything level, right? I cannot see it happening. But I'm just thinking, in a funny world, imagine if that did happen and then you had to play an extra Glasgow derby. This is all the only reason I brought this up. If you had to play the extra Glasgow derby and it couldn't be in Glasgow, where would you play it?
Well, I'd say let's play it in Tokyo, but that's just me.
I'd say, well, we almost had it at the Sydney Super Cup, remember? And then they got the huff and they didn't want to be Angers, like, poor neighbour and come along and do all that. So we ended up playing Everton, but yeah, you almost have it here.
I mean, that's obviously we are biased in saying that, but putting it somewhere outside of Scotland, I mean, Andrew in the comments are saying Newcastle, that might be a good shout. Just somewhere outside of Scotland. Get officials from outside of Scotland to referee it as well.
Oh, I got the perfect spot.
Oh.
So Ian, if he was on, would have said Sunderland because he loves them over Newcastle.
That's a beautiful big stadium as well.
Both of them are big stadiums, both 50,000 plus, right?
Yeah.
What I was thinking, perfect spot. Ajax Arena
Oh, aye, that would be
Because
tasty.
you know what? There'd still be some Ajax fans hanging around wanting to batter some Huns. Get some training in before the World Cup hooligan times kick in.
Aye.
Yeah, anyway.
Be a
Yes.
good way to bring down the curtain on the San Siro as well. Is that not getting demolished in the summer?
Oh, yeah. There you go. Let's be the last game there.
Aye.
Well, let's go play in Lisbon.
I can just imagine some wee Hun with his fucking chimp-like fingers furiously typing on the keyboard. Those are all Fenian countries.
Or one other then. Where was it that they lost on penalties to Eintracht Frankfurt? Was it Lisbon
Seville.
or Seville? And where'd we?
It was Seville.
There you go. There's an equaliser. Go play it in Seville, and then see
Aye.
who can actually get their win back over there.
Yeah, and bonus points to who can go the longest without drinking lavy water.
Yes, he knew what I was setting you up for.
Aye.
Yeah, so bit of a damn squid that game. Not really too much to talk about. So the best talking point: Green Brigade come back to Celtic Park off the back of that. What was your thoughts on that, Liam?
Brilliant to see. Brilliant to see. Also, excuse my language, I just want to say a massive fuck you to the Sun for their attempt to try and drag the Green Brigade down with their comments about a Bobby Sands banner. Why is it that when the Green Brigade unfurl a banner quoting an elected politician, that's not okay? But 50,000 Huns singing about being up to their knees in our blood every week is fine. Not a word said. Also, I will take no moral lectures from a paper that, was quite gratefully and gleefully hacking dead kids' phones and all sorts of other horrible shit for the sake of headlines over the years. So I'll take no moral lessons from that rag. And I certainly won't have them besmirching the good name of the Green Brigade.
And I will throw one more thing in there called Hillsborough.
Yes. Yep.
I don't care what the Sun does; they are shit at the best of times, but I will never forgive them for what they did to that. That's shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the city of Liverpool to this day is still dealing with the fallout from that. And, aye. It's funny that you should say that because my first ever sort of, not really a European trip because it was a friendly, but the first time I ever watched Celtic outside of Scotland was I went down to Anfield for the Ronnie Moran testimonial in 2001. Liverpool beat us 4-1, right? I mean, it wasn't a competitive game at all, but the Scousers treated us like absolute royalty. And I've got to say, if there's any Liverpool fans listening, total respect to you guys and your club. You're absolutely brand new. Met a couple of lovely Evertonians in the pub as well down there, I've got to say, so shout out to them as well.
Well, that's the thing. Like when Sydney Super Cup was on, a hell of a lot of real good Scousers from down here for Everton as well. Like, yeah, they're solid.
Just a good city. A good city full of good people.
I see Scousers as basically the equivalent of, if you know Australia, you've got the mainland, and down south we've got Tasmania. It's just that slightly wild, a bit off-kempt, little section underneath. That's Liverpool, and all the Scousers there. They're Scottish by default.
Well, there's a saying in Liverpool apparently that a Scouser is just an Irishman who can swim. So
Yeah, all that.
I think that's about right.
There you go. That's where they fit in. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll just go through a couple little transfer things, then we'll get to the split fixtures, and yeah, we'll just talk absolute crap as usual, Liam. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a rumour I saw the other day. Benjamin Negrin's attracting interest from Tottenham, Bournemouth, Brighton and Valencia. The talk is the fee is going to be around £26 million. Now, with that in mind, I'll bite the hand off for that. I'm telling you. Give us £26 million for someone we just spent 1.5 on. That's like Matt O'Reilly, levels of money. And the thing is, O'Reilly was good. Negrin just scores goals. So for me, I would bite the hand off for that fee. Something chronic. What do you think,
Yeah.
Liam?
Unquestionably. But what I would say
Now let's see if what you're going to
is,
say next is my next question. Go on.
right, if the Celtic board are willing to gamble, I would say hold him until after the World Cup because I think Sweden might do quite well. And if they do, his price will shoot up. Same goes for Dyson. Same goes for possibly Tunekti. Who knows? We've got quite a few players who have kind of flown under the radar, but are now suddenly going to a World Cup. And it's a World Cup where you're going to have teams like Scotland actually have a realistic chance of making the knockout stage. So it's going to be really interesting to see some of these smaller countries getting through and possibly doing some damage in the tournament. And that will inflate the value of any players we have in those teams.
So with that in mind, before I come into the next part of my question, because that wasn't it, Celtic's also been linked with Socceroos captain Matt Ryan, who's out of contract at Levante in the Liga. So he'd be a veteran goalkeeper to replace Casper in our squad. If we're talking about players going to the World Cup, doing well and getting a move, he's out of contract. Let's snap him up quickly now. It's out of us or Club Bruges, apparently, that's linked. We're first linked with Matty Ryan when Ange came in before he signed Joe Hart, right? So
Yeah.
if you could bring Matt Ryan, he's only like 6'1" or something like that, but he's a friggin' unreal shot stopper and just a leader. Come out for the ball. We need an Aussie. We need an Aussie at Celtic. It's been too long.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, why not? And then let him and Sinisalo battle it out for the number 1 jersey. He'd be a good guy to teach, and for him to learn off again. Another quality keeper. It's been in multiple World Cups, played at big clubs, played in the Premier League, done a bit of it here, there, and everything. Get him in, and then I like your idea, holding off on those guys until after the World Cup, and then seeing if they improve their value and go from there. I like the sounds of that.
Now, I hadn't heard about the Matty Ryan link, but he is a good goalkeeper. I agree with that. But I do think that, this is why I think he might not come to Celtic, because I think he's going to want to be the number 1, and I think Sinisalo should be our number 1. I think
that's
he's
exactly
done enough.
how I feel.
Yeah. So it might be a case of getting an older goalkeeper who is happy to be a backup and is maybe looking at, maybe someone who's about the same age as Casper was when he originally came to Celtic and is happy to be a backup and is looking at possibly moving into coaching sooner or later. I mean, one that springs to mind randomly was like Raymond van der Houw when he was at Man United. I think he was like 36 or something when Schmeichel retired. And he was still the backup, but he was quite happy to be the backup because that's where he'd been for the whole time Peter Schmeichel had played there, basically. And he was happy to continue that. And he mentored, a variety of goalkeepers that Man United tried and failed with over the next couple of years. But yeah.
Was he there when they had Massimo Taibbi?
I think he might have moved on by that point. Hope for his sake that he had.
The old tunnel ball king. If we're going to look at one, we're going to look at someone a bit older, ties to the club. You know how we love that. Mm-hmm. Is Fraser Forster still playing?
I believe he's on. Yeah, I think he's. Is he on loan at Bournemouth or something? Somebody signed him on like an emergency loan, and I think he's there until the end of the season. Could be Bournemouth or Brentford, or it's one of these like decent kind of middle of the road EPL teams that's taken him.
Yep. It'll be
he'll be available as a free agent in the summer, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he might be a free agent in the summer.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's worth looking at. I think with Robert Gibson, Fraser Forster is 175 years old. Yeah. He needs WD-40 into his knee joints before even going to go for a jog.
Just reading that quote, do you remember the scene in Coming to America in the barber shop when they're all arguing about Joe Lewis? He's like, Joe Lewis was 75 years old when he fought Rocky Marciano.
There you go.
I don't know why, but just that quote from Robert there just made me think of that scene. Classic film.
Well, we got this one, Robert Gibson saying, get Eli Adams in. We need to stop this dad's army shot that we do. Yep. Get him in. Andrew Galea, what sort of wages are Irankunda and Toure on in the championship? Apparently Watford's only paying half Irankunda's wage. Bayern's still paying the rest. Toure, I don't know, to be honest with you. Robert Gibson, Patrick Beach is a decent keeper if we're going after Aussies. I wouldn't have even had him in my top 3 Australian goalkeepers, but different horses, different courses. Yeah. And then McLaughlin, apparently Maeda was down watching Birmingham yesterday. Yeah, he was down there watching Awada.
Iwata, yeah. I
Kyogo's
mean,
had surgery, so he
they've
wasn't.
got Kyogo, and I think they've got a Korean player there as well. They're building quite a nice wee Asian contingent down there.
They almost had Yang as well.
Yeah,
What was it, for 500,000 or something they wanted to spend on him?
that would have. I mean, as it's turned out, that would have been another Iwata move, wouldn't it? Letting a good player go far too early if we'd actually gone through with that move.
How bad has that been? Awada, bad move in terms of
Yeah,
him going. Um, and then that one. Well,
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Even
Here we
dare I
go
say
again.
it?
Andrew. And then McLaughlin, is that Rogers' not old number 2 Davies at managing Birmingham? Yeah, he also was Andrew's
Yeah,
assistant at Tottenham, which is why he's scaring that market too.
aye, aye.
Yep.
I think that we might be one the current crop of Japanese players at Celtic. It might be the last time we get those players on the cheap, because I think the English Premier League have woken up to that being an untapped well of talent. And
Championship sides have.
aye, and I think Japan will do quite well this summer in the World Cup. So
I'm going to say it. They're going to finish top 4.
I think at least the last 8. The best they've done so far is the last 16. I think they're going to make the last 8 this time, possibly the last 4.
I reckon they'll be in the 3rd, 4th playoff.
That would really be something, I tell you. Aye, it's off topic, but isn't this one of the most open World Cups that we've seen in ages? Because I
There's
don't think
47,000 teams in there, Liam. Seriously.
No, but
if you're going to react to that comment earlier, there's fucking 47,000 teams and only 290-something countries in the world.
fair enough. Aye, fair enough. But what I mean is, there's no one outstanding team that you think are obviously going to win it.
Unless you're an English fan and they think it's coming home.
But China haven't qualified for the World Cup this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an interesting World Cup. Time zone's perfect for us over here too. Most of the games at night, and when they kick off, it's early morning. Perfect. Chuck it on the phone at your desk. They're going, oh yeah, oh shit, I'm at work.
Oh, it's perfect for me because I do most of my classes in the evenings. So it's like watch the World Cup games in the morning, then just do my work at night. It's perfect for me. Absolutely perfect.
Yep. It is. Robert.
I think your money's counted there, Robert. I might be going out on a limb there, but I'm going to say I think your money's counted there, mate.
So, Liam, my other question that I was going to get to with the £26 million and biting the hand off for Negrin, right? I'll bring it back to that for a minute. Now we've gone on that tangent. Is would you actually trust that the board would reinvest that money into buying new players for the team?
No, I think they'll do exactly what they did last summer with Negrin. I think they sold Nicholas Kuhn for 16 million and signed Negrin for 1.8. I think you would get a token signing in the sort of 2 to 3 million range. It'd be like, there's your replacement.
Mvuka,
well, Dermot Desmond buys another private jet,
Yeah, just it's another Mvuka type of player we'll get. Bring in Eli Adams. No, you know what? I'm saying it. If you want to spend that money, Celtic, and you want to pocket an absolute bucket load of it and get a player who is just as is actually taller and presses harder and could do the job. If you took that 20 million, if you were to pocket, if you were 26 million, pocket 20 of it, and then go to Newcastle Jets and go, here's 3 million for Eli Adams, and then go to, I'm trying to remember which other club it is. There's another one down here that's got a good quality young centre back. Here's 3 million for him. Bring them both in. Done. I would be happy.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things that might come about this summer with the World Cup is there's a few of these more obscure African countries that are going to be there that'll be worth looking at. Markets like Nigeria, Ghana, Morocco, most of their players are already playing at a decent level in Europe, but you're going to have teams like, like Congo and, Curacao and teams like that who are like, is Curacao even in Africa? That might be South America, I'm not sure. But anyway,
I don't know.
these countries that are like so far off of the footballing map ordinarily that if they've got any gems, we could snap them up potentially. If we had a scouting network, which we don't, but if.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at one here. Look at the Africa ones, right? So Algeria. Just trying to see because there's one country that I think nothing's been done with them. Okay, that explains it. I was going to say, where's Kenya? We got one Yama Kenyan player, and I haven't
Yeah.
really. There you go. Curacao is just off the Venezuela, so in other words,
Right. Okay.
that's Trump controlled. But just looking at it going, like, I always thought, you're talking Nigeria's done to death. Kenya was always one that I thought would be a nice little one to get involved in and build up, but looks like their confederation was closed down 2 or 3 years ago. FIFA suspended them. Yep, over allegations of misappropriation of funds by former caretaker committee. This led to a ban of Kenya by FIFA on 25th of February 2022. However, they're back in time to host the next AFCON in 2027, hosted by Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. So there you go. Interesting.
I'm just looking at these World Cup groups here, just to shift gears for a second. There's a lot of Central Asian countries have qualified as well. I'm thinking like, well, obviously
Tajikistan
Iran,
and stuff.
Saudis, Uzbekistan, Jordan,
Iraq's in.
Iraq,
Boof to them for Graham Arnold being their coach because he's a Hun bastard, but good on him for making it.
I mean, I don't know what has to happen, but how funny would it be if USA ended up playing Iran at some point? Especially if Iran managed to somehow beat them.
Oh, God.
Oh,
I don't know what would happen.
no. I mean, Trump would probably step in and just award the tournament to Israel at that point,
So many
Anyway,
comments.
geopolitics.
So many comments. If you want to hear the geopolitical comments, please stick around for the Patreon after the show when Liam goes on a 30-minute rant about why he hates certain countries that, aren't of a hammer and sickle persuasion.
I don't hate certain countries. I hate certain people running those fucking countries, if we're going to be specific.
Yeah. So Andrew Goulet saying about those countries you were rattling off, Liam. Australia plays all these nations. We've been everywhere. And so does Japan.
Yeah.
And as McLaughlin saying here, these teams won't all get battered 6-7-0 like some people are imagining.
No,
and McLaughlin's also said Haiti is still trying to sway Edouard to play for them.
Wow. That would
That'd
be
be
a coup if they could pull that off. No pun intended.
Yeah, so, just,
You see what I did there?
yeah, you're talking about a pot noodle, different way. Yeah, so basically, well, Liam's gone a little blurry there. We're laughing. I'll just talk some rubbish. But, yeah, just
Yeah, I'm back.
thought we'd get to the SPFL split fixtures because, how good was the whole breakdown of the Huns and the Dyad Huns and Ali McCoist and all this sort of rubbish. Oh, that was some comedic gold, right? So I'm going to bring this up. So this is the Celtic run-in, obviously. So game 1, we've got Falkirk away. It's game 2, Hibs at home. Game 3, Rangers at home. Then a little potential banana skin, game 4, which is Motherwell, leading into a potential at home against Hearts for us to win that. Now, if it's us versus Hearts, game 5, titles on the line, suffering your jocks, you stupid bastards. You started it first in terms of the tiny allocations. You'll have no one in there anyway. So But look, take it as a silver lining. But I wish this was. Whoops! I'll get rid of that. I just realised I had someone's phone number on the top because I didn't crop it. But anyway, the actual proper fixture list is a little bit. There we go. It's a bit of an interesting one. So yeah, just looking at it. So first lot, it's Hibs and Hearts at Easter Road. When Rangers and Motherwell are playing at Ibrox, and we've got Falkirk. Did that say we had Falkirk away? Did it?
I know we've got Falkirk at home.
Yes, that was wrong anyway. So yeah, so we got Falkirk at home in the first lot, right?
Yeah.
Then so that's on. So we're playing on.
I think it's Hibs we've got away is the change from that list that you put up a minute ago.
That's what we've got. So second game we've got Hibs away, and then it's Hearts Rangers at Tynecastle. Then the next one it's us and Rangers at our joint, and I'll be going to the pub for that game, guaranteed. Sunday 12 p.m. kickoff. That's 9 p.m. over here. Happy days. Dropping some frothies, I'll tell you what. So then you got Hearts at Motherwell. And then the next one we've got after that, the midweek. So we got the Wednesday, the 13th of May. We're off to Motherwell. Rangers have got Hibs. Hearts are hosting Falkirk. I reckon all three of them are banana skins. All three of them are actually interesting matchups.
I'm glad we've got Falkirk at home. I really am, because I watched that game between them and the Tribute Act yesterday, and all right, Rangers end up scoring 6 goals, but God, first half Falkirk schooled them. Completely outplayed them. 2-0 up and 2-0 up on merit. And I think maybe it's that pitch they've got. I don't know, but they look like a different team when they're at home. So I'm glad they've got to go there again and we don't.
Well, that's what I said last week on the pod, Liam. Like, I wanted, of the possible away games, the 3 options, I actually said I'd rather go to Fir Park and go to Easter Road than go to whatever the name of Falkirk Stadium is. I can never remember it.
I think it is the Falkirk Stadium, actually.
Because I don't want to play on the plastic.
No.
Like, you look at Easter Road, it's actually a really good grassy pitch. You look at Motherwell, that thing has won, like, pitch of the year multiple years in Scottish football. So if we want to go and play football, and those two teams will actually want to come out and attack and play football, especially at home, they'll look at us going, oh, we can get at them. So they'll come out, which will open it up a bit more for us as well. So that actually, I think, suits us, having those two away. So that's perfect. And then obviously last round, we've got, what do we got here? So the Huns have got to go to Falkirk and play on the plastic. And then it's us at Hearts at home. So that's going to be an interesting one. Ooh, okay.
Did you see the Twitter exchange of the Hun trying to get a ticket for the last game of the season?
No.
Right, he put out a tweet saying, like, all Falkirk fans, he says, tickets wanted for the last game of the season, willing to pay more than face value, DM me. It's obviously, his name was like, Billy 1690 or something, so.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
What? He's not going there to support Falkirk, put it that way, right? The first reply was a Falkirk fan, says, "Aye, no bother, mate. 250 quid each, I've got 2 tickets." He said, "Admit your club died and you've got a deal." That was quite good.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. So we got a comment here, McLaughlin, saying you could have a situation where Hearts are blown out and they only have 15 fans inside Celtic Park. Andrew Gillespie saying, I've got no confidence, optimistic, not confident. Post Monday 67 is saying, I'm after aging 15 years since August, this team's killing me.
I know how he feels.
Liam had hair at the start of the season.
I know. I'm going to sue Celtic for making me mad and bald all in one season.
Liam had a full afro at the start of the season. At one point, it was seriously getting that long. I was like, is he wearing a wig or what?
Let's get a touch of the Danny rules about me.
Yeah, and then Dominic's saying the Falkirk team are mostly the Rangers supporters. Yes, they'll probably lay down. Now, McLaughlin, you're saying, so that's dead rubbers for me on the last day. You can forget that one. The only dead rubbers are the ones that the Rangers, players, fans' dads should have been wearing. Had to.
Uh,
Couldn't help
yeah.
it. Have to do a little shots fired there. So
I mean, I was going to say the ones you would find inside their sisters, but that's, is that too far? I don't know.
a little from column A, a lot from column B. I think your one worked a lot better than mine. So we'll go with that one.
Okay, right. I'm glad we were able to come to an amicable arrangement on this one.
Shh. Did Liam even realise what he just said? So, yeah, we've got St Mirren on Sunday in the Scottish Cup semi. Is that at Hampden? Because it's a semi,
Aye,
right?
yeah, the semis are at Hampden. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, heading into the game, going to be a bit of an interesting one. What do you think, Liam? What sort of game do you think it's going to be? A close one again? Or do you think they're going to come out and play a bit more? What are your thoughts heading in?
No, I think it'll be a tight one. And like it's been recently in all of our games. I think we win, but we win by a single goal. So 2-1 or maybe 1-0.
It's going to sound interesting for you, but when was the last time we played St Mirren at Hampden?
2016, 2017, something like that.
Was it? Who beat us in the League Cup final this season?
Bugger. Aye, right. I'm only thinking of the Scottish Cup, of course. So I had blanked that trauma out of my mind, and you've now resurrected it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so I have two things in my mind. That's the number one thing, just being like, oh no, right? But then the other thing is, you're saying it's going to be a close one because that's what a lot of them have been lately. If they still had Stephen Robinson as their manager, I'd be like, all right, they're the favourites going into this game. Because they don't, and we just beat them, in my opinion, we are the slight favourites. It's like a bee's dick is the official measurement in terms of how much the favourites we are. Like, I think we win the game, but it wouldn't shock me if it went to extra time.
Yep. And the bee hasn't even had a couple of seconds to slap it about before the cameras were on him. So yeah, it's not even a
The bee,
It's a floppy bee stick length. That's how.
bee
That's how.
hasn't taken his Viagra yet.
No.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's not a lot in it, but I'm thinking we'll win the game. But this could be the massive setup for us. This could be a launching point for us. Get the win, get to another cup final, and be like, okay, we have another crack at least getting one trophy this season, and then what will be in the next 4 weeks after that for 5 games. What will be will be. We could come out of this with League Cup double, and having lost the other one on, what was it, penalties or something that we lost? I can't remember. I can't remember how we actually lost. I just know we lost to them in that cup final.
We lost 3-1.
Yeah, there you go. So it wasn't Ben's. There you go.
And
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think we need to make sure we prepare and have a plan B. I think that's the biggest thing for us heading into it. Like, it can't be more of the same that we saw on the weekend where let's just try to pass through them. We need to be able to go out and around them. Hampden's a pretty big pitch, so we need to have, as I said, play your little triangles, try and play through them, but then not be afraid to whip that ball out wide with a big diagonal ball and then hit the ball in a space so that Yang and Dazen can run onto it. And then what that'll do is open up. If you can imagine getting the big giraffe up front in Cancerara running in and just having balls whipping into him where he can just run on and going one-on-one with a centre-back, I'd back him to header in a few goals. Instead of having to do this link-up play, get the ball wide, get it into him, and then play off it, get it in the mixer a bit, go a bit ugly.
yeah.
My hot take for this game, and it's not going to be a very hot take, but Gogic is getting sent off.
Oh yeah. Aye. I mean, he was lucky not to get sent off at the weekend. To be honest, he was.
It's happening. He's been treading that fine line against us all season. This is his last chance to stand on one of us, so he's going to get sent off.
He's not quite the class that we need, but I like him as a player. He's a big no nonsense enforcer,
mad
which is
bastard, I love
something
it.
Celtic haven't had for ages.
He's a big mad bastard. He gives me Daniel Mastarovic vibes. Not the greatest footballer, but he just looks mental and will let the studs in.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, your score prediction for this one, what did you say again?
I'll go with 1-0. I think we'll win 1-0.
I say we are going to win 3-1, and the only reason is because we're going to be 2-1 up, and they're going to throw numbers forward and we hit them on the counter.
Is it going to be one of them, like a 40-yard shot when the goalkeeper's up in our penalty area?
Yeah, and it'll probably be the Bricky taking the shot too.
Aye.
Someone ridiculous like the Bricky or, I don't know, Scales or someone like that, just who should not be shooting it, but it's like, fuck it, why not? Whack. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we'll wrap the pod up there. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Appreciate everyone who's been on the pod. As I said, 500th episode for the Celtic Down Under podcast. Big up to us and everyone who's appeared on the pod over the years. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks to everyone who subscribes to the channel, who follows us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on all the social media channels. Appreciate each and every one of you. And, yeah, here's to the next 500 episodes. Now we're going to get Liam's final thought, because that was
My
mine.
final thought. Okay, well, my final thought. Sticking with the political angle, I'm going to make a suggestion here. Now, I've been observing the way things have developed in America in the last couple of years. Vice President J.D. Vance went to the Vatican to negotiate with the Pope. Pope Francis died a couple of weeks later. He went to Iran to try and negotiate a peace deal. So he went to Pakistan, rather, to negotiate a peace deal with Iran. It failed. He went to Hungary to campaign for Viktor Orban. He's just got his arse handed to him in an election. How much is it going to cost for us to get JD Vance a season ticket to Ibrox? I'm just asking.
You could find one in a bin somewhere. So free.
I was going to say you'd find one down the back of the sofa, but the scary thing is he might try and shag it, you know.
Anyway, thanks everyone.
Allegedly.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hail, hail, and we'll see you next podcast.
Hail, hail.